So welcome everybody. My name is Regan Miner and I am the chair of the Historic District Commission. Welcome to our regular meeting here on February 16th, 2022. I would just ask that if you're not speaking, you would just have yourselves muted, just so we don't pick up any background noise. And just also full disclosure, this meeting is going to be recorded, so that will be accessible later on the City of Norwich's website. So our meeting tonight will be broken up into two sections. The first will be the public hearing, and then the second will be the regular meeting. The public hearing is the opportunity for applicants to present their applications to the commission and for the commission to ask applicants questions. Once the public hearing closes, the regular meeting will then begin. And the regular meeting is where the commission discusses and votes on applications. Applicants are welcome to stay and listen to the regular meeting, but you will not be permitted to speak or provide additional information on your application at that point. It's not required that you stay and listen. You're welcome to. But regardless, all applicants will be notified in writing tomorrow regarding the commission's decision. And so any further questions before we get started here? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go here on our agenda. We're going to open the public hearing at 5:35 p.m. And the first item on our agenda is COA 482 34 East Town Street. And I believe we've got a couple people here ready to talk and present on this application. So Pam, I'll let you start and take it away.
Yes, so talking about 34 East Town Street again, last April, I think it was, we received approval from the commission for windows. And since that time, those windows were discontinued. And we didn't feel comfortable choosing a discontinued item. And so we went through the winter, we received some more Neighborhood Assistance Act money from NPU. And in the meantime, we found the Cooper Group. Which I think is going to be ideal for what we're trying to do. So I'm going to let them speak since they do a better job than I do, and see if you have any questions.
Thanks, Pam. So I'm Matt. I'm Director of Operations here at the Cooper Group. We are and this is Ken, a senior estimator. I'm a Director of Operations here, and this is Elliot. He had to be with me because Mom is at work. We are a historic preservation and restoration company specializing in windows. And one of our big focuses is adding energy efficiency to historic restoration as well. The goal here at the 34 East Town Street was to remove the jam liners and sash that are currently in there, restore the frames, and then make new sash that have some energy efficiency, about a 3.5 R value, and have them operate and look historic, but still provide you with the energy efficiency and the low maintenance that you would need on this building. And the payoff is also you don't have to have any storms on it. Our profiles will match. Our wood is Akoya, which is LEED green friendly. It's grown on a farm, so it doesn't cut down any rainforest or anything. It makes people happy there. And it'd be a fixed upper sash and a operable lower sash. The one thing that you would see if you got really close to the windows is there will be an interior grill, but from a distance, to an untrained eye, to maybe anyone but me and Ken, they will look and act like a historic window that's there. So just much easier maintenance and better quality. So that would be the overall goal. There's 20 total double hung that we call them type A and B. They're just slightly different in size. And we would be using our own Liberty Restoration glass that we make here in-house. So the glass would have some texture to it, have some wiggle to it. It really does resemble a historic unit. So that's primarily what we focus on.
And if I could add, part of the part of the scope would be to restore the existing sills that are on the building on the exterior. There's some existing cladding, aluminum cladding or material on there that we removed. We'll be restoring the sash in place. We're preservationists, so we won't remove any material that isn't necessary. We'll stabilize what's there, and with epoxy compounds are the typical ones that we normally use, and prime and paint to match the existing color, which sort of white, but we're not quite sure which shade it is yet, but it will be that. And we will remove it, like Matt said, we'll remove the old jam liners in there. Those are the metal inserts that they put in there to have the replacement sash work. We're going to actually bring the window frames back to their original operation, so that the new sash will fit into the original jams, and we'll put in what's called a slip stop between them, so the sash will operate as it did. The only exception is we're going to install a mechanical balancing system in the lower sash. The brand we use is called a Strybuck, and it just makes the operation of the opening of the window a lot smoother if they're opened at all. So that's part of the plan also. And then we paint everything and clean up and do all the good stuff too.
Great, thank you guys so much for the presentation. Any questions for the applicants from members of the commission? Sorry, Tim, I think I interrupted you.
No, I jumped in there. That you were talking about to make it easier to open if it is open, that would, whatever that mechanism is, it's inside, but it would be replacing something like the counterweights, or that would be hung inside the window. Is that
Yes.
what you're discussing? Okay. And
That's
then
correct.
and then the windows as you're describing them, the grills, there's going to be grills inside
Yes.
a couple panes of window. Is that what I'm reading or understanding?
The grill on the exterior will be a profile of what looks like glazing, or that angled look of old glazing. And then the interior profile will be up to you, but it'll be any sort of historic profile that you'd like. We have thousands of cutters, so we'll give you a couple of options. And then it's just applied, and there's an interior spacer bar, so it'll be white most likely because the windows are white, and the only way you'll be able to see it is if you look inside of one pane and look down at an angle. So
The reason, I might say, the reason we do that is for more efficiency. The old single glass was what would be called true divided light. In other words, there was each, in a 6/6, there would be 6 individual pieces of glass in each sash. And you can do true divided light in insulated glass, but the little bars that everybody looks at, they're called muntins, and because of the way the glass is built, the muntins need to be excessively wide in order to fit all those individual IG glass pieces into a sash. So it's much better to have one large piece of glass within the sash frame, and then have the grill work put on the inside and the outside. It matches the same profile and width of the originals. So from a distance, it reads like the original windows. And with the old glass that we have in there, it really is a good look.
Yeah. Okay.
And one other thing about the sash balances, those actually are installed in the sash. Okay, so nobody will ever see those. They're hidden in the outside of the frame of the sash on the sides of each sash. Sash meaning the operable parts of a window. So we have two sash operational. Typically, in this case, we'll only have one operational, but there'll be an upper sash and lower sash. And so those Strybucks get put into grooves that are cut into the frames of the lower sash, and all then needs to be, it's a spring activated and a device that has a cord on it, that a nylon cord that attaches to a little clip that we need to install in the original jamb of the windows, and that operates, that allows the sash to go up and down. And another thing important, all the windows will get new weather stripping also. So there'll be weather stripping all the way around, even the fixed ones up top. We take those out, we take the original ones out, clean all the jams, and put new sash in. Even if they're inoperable, they will still be weather stripped also. They won't be caulked in.
You can see that they're very passionate about windows. We've met several times, and I'm no longer disappointed that the original ones were discontinued, because they're fabulous. And I didn't think you could talk that much about windows, but you definitely can. So any other questions?
Any questions from members of the commission?
I do have one question. So back in April of last year, you did approve the rear windows.
Yeah.
Because it's almost been a year, do we have to bring those back? Do I have to do another application?
Yeah, so typically, Pam, our COAs are valid for 6 months, and since
Okay,
we're over 6 months, you could just resubmit the application and basically how you did it before, and just
Okay.
resubmit it, and we will approve it and take care of it at the next meeting. So
okay,
just resubmit it. It should be pretty simple.
okay, great.
Yeah.
So
My
these
only
don't-
question,
these don't
sorry, go ahead,
overlap?
Tim.
These don't overlap with any of the windows that were in 453 COA. These are all 20 different windows from that previous one, correct? I
There's
can't
70
remember.
Yeah, there's 70 windows total. And because we don't have enough money to do them all, we were kind of doing them in segments. So the 20 windows that we're talking about, that you approved all of the rear windows, but we were focusing on the 20 windows, and those were the ones that were discontinued. And those are the ones that were approved. So we're bringing that back again with this new company.
And remind me, Pam, was this the front we were speaking of the building? Just to remind myself.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you for the
Here,
clarification.
what everybody considers the original house? Yes,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
That's what I thought, but just wanted to clarify.
sure.
And then my only question is, what's your timeline? Because I know you guys have money, which is great. So what's your
Do.
thoughts on getting things rolling?
I meet with our president and CEO next week, review it with them. And then we already have a contract with the Cooper Group, and they're not afraid of the winter weather and said they can, kind of get started. So we'll regroup with them. And I would think within, 30, 45 days, you'll start seeing some window replacement.
Great, cool.
Yeah, we're not going to wait till the spring. We're going to, well, by then it is spring, but we're going to forge forward.
Yeah.
Great, cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
Any
Sounds good.
further questions or anything else you guys want to add? I have no more questions. Tim, Greg, Nancy, you guys look good?
I just want to
We're
know what
looking
the little
forward to
one
it.
has to say
I know, Elliot.
about
Aw.
these windows.
Poor guy's got an earache too, so
Oh, no.
yeah, and we went
Oh.
to the DMV this morning. It's been a heck of a day for him.
Oh, gee whiz. Ah,
Yeah, that's all right. He's a trooper.
so we
Anyway,
better
Well,
not ask him to say anything.
well, he only says a couple words right now, but dada, mama, and Bo, which is a
Yay.
dog. Yeah.
Aw,
Oh,
Well,
Cute.
thank you very much. If anybody has any other questions or anything, you know where to find me, but I appreciate your time.
well, thank you
Thank you
guys for
very much.
joining
Thank you,
us.
everyone.
All right, have a great night.
Thanks, Pam.
Bye-bye.
You guys are welcome to stick around, but you don't have to either if you got other things to do.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so next up on the agenda here is COA 483, which is 44 East Town Street. And I do believe that we have someone present to discuss this application. So Charlene, I'll let you take it away.
Hi. Yes, we are needing to, we are needing to install one handrail on the right side of the stairs in the front of our home for entrance purposes. This is just, apparently we have 3 steps and at least 3 steps. I guess it depends on how you count it. There could be 4 steps. It just really depends on how you look at the house and you have the pictures. So that's basically what we're wanting to do is see about getting this done. We've had a while to look for it, but we've had trouble getting people, and then it's getting supplies. The supply issue has been, and the shipping has been issues, what we've been told. And now we needed to see about getting, now that we found someone in the All-Time Manufacturing Company, we're at the point where we need to have something up there before May, because we have to find different insurance if we do not. So that's where this comes into play. And you should have all the information on there that I sent you along with the application. So with the pictures, just anything, if you have any questions, just let me know. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Any questions for Charlene?
Hey, Charlene, so was there ever railings on that porch?
It looks like there was railings previously. I can't tell what they were. We just can't tell what they were. It's in granite, so I couldn't tell you. I'm assuming they were, I don't know, maybe iron or something before, but it looks like it, I don't know, rusted off, broke off or something. I couldn't tell you. It's down in there a little bit. That's all we know. And yeah, and it looks like it's only at the top of it. I can't tell what's below. I couldn't tell that there was anything. Well, there may have been something on the 3rd step down there. Yeah, I think there was something on the 3rd step down there. I haven't actually went out there. I don't go out on the front much because it's really cold outside. I just don't go out the front. We go out the back. But this is really beneficial for the basically the mail carrier. So yeah, so that's kind of where that stands.
So it would
Sounds good.
stop at that 3rd. It looks like that lower one, there was rails on both sides, right? Those darker spots.
I think
at
there,
the
I think there
bottom.
might have been rails on both. Yeah, I think there was rails on both
Yeah.
sides. But we need
then-
to basically have it on at least one side. And at this point, that's what
Right.
we can afford to do, is have it on one side.
So the application said right side, the drawing, depending on which perspective you had, is either right or left. So if I'm facing it right now, first picture, it's gonna be facing the house on the left-hand side?
Right,
Am I-
the applicant, the
Okay.
description said that the handrail would be on the right side of the stairs if you are leaving the home. So yes,
Leaving the
it would
house,
be
okay.
on the
Okay.
left side if you were entering the home. Yes.
And the upper part attached to the step, or is it attaching to the house at any
No.
point?
Okay, it would be attaching to the granite. If you're
Yeah.
talking about my fabulous artwork that was on one of the pictures in red, that was my sketch to kind of give you an idea. And that was done with a mouse. So sorry about that.
No, that's good. I just wanted to double check to make sure
Yeah,
everything's
it's not
really
attached.
being
It is
installed there.
not attached to the house, and it will not be in red, nor will it be leaning like that.
You did a good job, Charlene. No, this was good.
I was like,
Yep.
I can't really do this, right? This is gonna be bad, but I'm gonna do it anyways. But yeah, that was just kind of give it an idea.
Yeah, it gets the idea across.
I was hoping so, but I was afraid it wouldn't.
You did good. It's all good. It's more thorough than most COAs we get. So let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I was afraid because of the type that I was having trouble, I was having trouble finding what we needed, and with it being aluminum, even though they look really nice. I was wondering if we had any others in the neighborhood. That's why I kind of went around the neighborhood and felt like super creeper, knocking on people's handrails and seeing if they had anybody. But I did, as I included, I did find a couple of homes that had the same type scenario. And so I felt better about it. And then like I included the pictures of what they gave me in their paperwork. It will be like, or it would be like the one that's on the very last page where it's square, because the house is square. And I don't like the idea of having like a ball cap on it, because that feels very inside of a home, it feels wrong. So the house is square. I feel like the outside should be more square. So I didn't, that's what we were aiming for, something more uniform, I guess you could say.
Sounds good. Awesome.
So Charlene, if you're only doing one side, why did you pick that side to do?
I thought, well, if you fall off the other side, you're gonna hit the bush. If you fall off that side, you're gonna hit the ground. So I was kind of going, bush, ground. I don't know. I felt like you might not want to hit the ground, but at least you could stable yourself if you hit the bush.
I was just thinking at opening the door, I would be like holding on to the other side or something, but
I didn't know if there was any kind of, if there's a logic to which side to do. I just needed to do one of the sides. I didn't know if there is a logic that you can see that's better, please tell me now, because that was my logic.
so insurance said you just had to have one side, huh?
We just had to have at least one side. That's what they're telling us. And if they come back and say more, I'm screaming at them because right now they only told me one. And I'm like, really? Okay, thank you for letting me know now and giving me a deadline and all this lovely stuff.
Nice.
So
Yeah, Greg, I agree with what you're saying, but then you'd have to move the mailbox, and the whole purpose is for the mail person to be able to get up there, right? But it seems like you'd be enclosed with the rail on the right-hand side, and you open up that storm door, and you'd be in the middle of it, so you wouldn't fall either way into a. If I looked at that, I'd say it would go on the opposite side, even though it means moving that mailbox. So
if
it's
we
just
did have to
my
move,
thoughts.
if we did have to move the mailbox, that is not a huge deal. That's a matter of just up some,
Yeah,
just up
and
a
you
little.
don't even, you don't need a
That's-
COA for mailboxes anyway,
That's
so.
that's not really a deal breaker of the whole thing. I think that's kind of like, it's just up. If it's better for that side, that's fine with me. I mean, I don't mind. That was my logic though. That was seriously my logic. Do you want to hit a bush? Do you want to hit the ground? I don't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that the insurance company said only one side, so you can fall off the other side, but that's okay.
Yeah, and considering supply and demand and how extraordinarily expensive these things are, because they can't get the stuff here. And I was like, fabulous. So that's been our biggest worry and issue, is getting someone and then getting the stuff here, because we've been put out a couple of times of trying to talk with people. So, or they just don't call back. They kind of get with us a little bit, and then after we've talked a while, then we've just been ghosted. So that's great. And so, but yeah, I was like, if this is what it cost us for this, wow. Okay. So yeah. So that, yeah, but if would we have to submit another another one of
No.
these for putting it on the other side if you feel like that was a better choice?
No, what we can just do is in our response back to you, we can just put that in the notes. So that you don't need a new
And I-
COA for that.
Because
And
if
I
you
don't
feel
know
that's a
if
better,
code-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if code says it should be on one side or the other is I guess, so it doesn't, I don't have any issue with it. I just, if I was looking at it, that's what I was thinking, but, I'm not sure if there's anything with a code, that would say one or the other, if there's only gonna be one.
Well, we tend to walk up the right side whenever we go up things, and that's what most people go up. And yeah, I guess I can see where that would end it. I mean, is it more aesthetically pleasing to be on that side?
I don't think it makes a difference either way, Charlene. I think what might make sense just to do is just double check with the building official with what Tim was mentioning with the code, if it needs to be on one side versus the other. I don't have a preference on which side it goes. Whatever meets the building code, I think is the best thing to
Okay.
do.
I can do that.
Does
Yeah,
that make
before-
sense to you? And
Yeah. Just
Okay.
before anything, if, everything goes through, then just before anything is done, just check with the building official about what particular side is best.
yeah, Tim and Greg, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect,
But
great,
if
yeah.
there is no preference, maybe it sounds like the members think on the right makes more sense to them. So if there's no preference by the officials, then maybe say on the right, the opposite side of what's presented. Does that make sense?
That would be what I would do, I think, if I was doing it, but it's not my house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, if it makes sense to Charlene to have it on the other side, and I would do that. I mean, she's the one living there. I gotta go with what works for her.
It makes sense to me to keep AAA. So I don't really care. I'm okay with it,
Well, I don't
I
know. The
mean-
previous people that lived there never had a railing and didn't have a problem, but guess they didn't.
Yes, but they apparently didn't have AAA, and I don't know how they got anything else, because that's all they liked us with was AAA. And I was like, whatever, floats your boat, dude. Just give me some insurance and let's go on.
Yeah,
I'm pretty flexible on the whole thing, so yeah, I'm like, okay, let's do this.
yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'm just like, okay. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, I can
All
check with the, what is that particular, let's see, I know his name, but I can't, just,
Yeah, you could check with either Dan Coley or Chris Case. They're the two building officials that at least I know and work with all the time in the building department. And they're pretty timely. Like if you email them, give them about a day and they usually will get back to you in a timely manner.
Yeah.
So they're pretty good.
oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'll get with them, see if there is something about a particular side, because it might be the easiest question of their day. So
Yeah, I probably will, frankly.
they may be thrilled with that particular email. Hey, I got something done fast. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good to me. I'm
All right,
good with that.
great. All right, thank you, Charlene. Does anyone else have questions for Charlene? I see shaking of heads. All right, great. So Charlene, you're welcome to stick around and listen if you'd like, or you're welcome to hop off and I'll be in touch with you tomorrow. So no issues either way.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Okay.
So next on our agenda here is COA 484, 67 East Town Street. There seems to be a lot of East Town Street tonight. That's kind of funny. And I believe we have an applicant here to discuss the application. So I will let you take it away, Dane.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Per the letter and the COA that I submitted on behalf of 67 East Town Street, we'd like to replace our fence in the rear of the property. There's currently a fence. The fence in place right now only borders the rear of the property. We're looking to replace the existing fence that exists. I did attach pictures as a reference for where the fence is actually located. And in addition to that, we're looking to install a gate in between our property and the neighboring property, which is 69 East Town Street, the Norwich Heritage and Regional Visitor Center. The land corridor, which I affectionately refer to as no man's land, in between both of these structures is the property to 67 East Town Street. But since moving here, we have realized that it's very hard to delineate the property lines. And a few times we've caught people wandering onto our property thinking they're trying to get into the neighboring property, which is the schoolhouse. So we'd like to install a gate between the structures on the pathway to in order to prevent people from going inadvertently in the wrong direction. So that would be the only new piece of fencing / construction that didn't exist on the property, but everything else that is being replaced is all still currently exists. I've attached the pictures of what the fence panels would look like. It's going to be a wood fence. It'll be a Western red cedar. The panels that you see that I attached on the letter are from a separate job site that the contractor has been working on, but the panels themselves are going to look exactly the same as the ones that are in the pictures. They're 6 foot by 8 foot panels. It'll be an 8 foot privacy fence. And those will be going into in the back of the property. I welcome any questions if anybody has anything.
Dane, I had 2 questions. That you said it's an 8 foot privacy fence. Do you mean it's 8 feet tall, or are the panels 6 feet tall and 8 feet wide?
The panels are 6 feet wide and 8 feet tall.
So it's an 8 foot tall fence you're talking about putting up.
That's correct.
And on the front there, where right now there's just a single kind of small section of fencing that's kind of in front of the trash cans. You're talking about fencing in that whole area across between the buildings?
Yes, we'd be replacing that fencing, that small panel, which currently blocks the garbage cans that are right there, so that it's a consistent look with the gate that we would like.
But that property is not your property, though, I thought you said.
It is.
Okay, so your property line goes all the way to the schoolhouse?
That's correct.
Okay.
Being that the structures are so close together, there's electrical wiring as well as the meter that's on the schoolhouse, which is sort of in the same vicinity, but with a lot of measuring that we've done, we will make sure that we are not to impact the actual structure of the schoolhouse, as well as the meter that's there. But thankfully, there's enough of a buffer.
The meter would be behind the blockade or the gate and the surrounding fence, correct?
The fence or the gate wouldn't be blocking it. So if NPU needed to get to the meter, they wouldn't have to cross beyond the gate.
Oh, okay, so it would be in front of whatever you're putting, the gate and the door would be, the meter on the schoolhouse would be visible from the front of that.
That's correct. It'd be in front, yes.
Okay, gotcha. And that one's only 6 foot tall.
That would be 6 foot tall, yes.
Okay, great. Any further questions for the applicant? right. Dane, anything else to add?
I don't think so. I attached, I did attach a picture of what the gate would look like. Again, it's from a different job site, but it will be the same design and again, about 6 foot tall. So I'm happy to take any other questions if anybody has any.
Right, it seems like there's silence in the Zoom room, so I think there's no more questions. Any further questions, everybody? Or no? Good, yes. All right, well, Dane, thanks for joining us this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, so next on our agenda is we have, let me just scroll here, review the final draft of the Historic District Commission Design Guidelines. And we have our consultant, Chris Skelly, here on hand just to answer any questions any members of the commission might have. So I figured we'd have a discussion about the design guidelines. I hope everyone had a chance to just look them over before the meeting this evening. Does anyone have an, Craig says no. He's shaking his head, that's funny. So any questions or thoughts about the design guidelines from members of the commission? Or public, because Dane's still here. No questions. I'm shocked. Really?
Well, given that I haven't had a chance to look at it, didn't even notice that it was attached until 5:30 this evening. So
Oh no.
not that it would have made a difference because I've had zero time to do anything in the last 2 weeks. So
Yeah, I can get that.
I guess, one of the open questions I had was what I brought up last meeting is, where do we fall on shall versus should?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a question.
Oh, sorry. I was waiting for more. I thought there was more coming.
No, that's the question. Where do we fall on shall versus should?
I can answer that, Regan, if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And thanks for the comments that you did offer already were really helpful. I think the shalls and the shoulds, I think the only place that showed up is in quoting directly from the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. I've tried to not use the word shall or should anywhere in the guidelines. So the Secretary of the Interior standards, they do use that language, shalls and shoulds. And those are just the national standards. I think I put in some language I think you'd be okay with, just to clarify what the standards actually mean. I can see if I can quote it for you right now. But it basically just talks about how the standards really are meant to be guidelines, and it's not really a you have to do this, you have to do things this way. That's not what the Secretary of the Interior standards are meant to be. So what I did was I quoted right off of the National Park Service's website, as they describe the Secretary of the Interior standards. So so this is on page 5 now. According to the National Park Service, the standards are to be applied to specific rehabilitation projects in a reasonable manner, taking into consideration economic and technical feasibility. These Norwich Historic District Design Guidelines are based on the rehabilitation standards listed below. So, I have to leave the standards, if we're gonna have the standards in there, which I think it's good to quote from them because they're the national standards. We're kind of stuck using with the language that they came up with decades ago, which was those shalls and shoulds. So I think that language, just in terms of it talking about it being reasonable manner, taking into consideration economic and technical feasibility, explains the context of what those standards are, how they're meant to be applied.
Sounds good. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. So what's the point of the if everybody is creating their own standards locally? What are the point of the Secretary of the Interior standards? Is that just to be kind of like a something to try and give guidance to everybody? Is that the point of it?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, so think if go back back to the 1970s, I think. So the National Park Service was giving out lots of grants. Historic preservation, that at that time, it isn't right now, but there were federal grants for historic preservation projects to take place. This is around the bicentennial time. And there were none of these standards. And so the Park Service didn't have any good way to understand where they should be giving out a grant or where they shouldn't be giving out a grant. And so they needed something in front of them to be able to say, yes, this meets the standards. We can give this project a grant. So that's kind of where these standards come from. And they're basically used in all kinds of different ways nowadays. So you probably are familiar, heard of the historic rehabilitation tax credits. I think there's been some of those have been used in Norwich. That's a national program for income producing properties to have a federal tax credit for certain projects. And all of those projects, again, have to meet the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. So they get used in all kinds of different ways across the country. And they often get incorporated into the local historic district decision-making process. If you are a commission, and there's plenty of them around the country, that don't have a set of design guidelines, you're going to fall back to just using these 10 standards from the National Park Service because you got nothing else. The problem with the standards is that they're written very, very broadly. They really don't give you a whole lot of detail. They're meant to be nationwide. So what's going to be used, these are the same standards that are going to be used in Santa Fe as they would be in Tacoma or New England or Savannah. So they really want to have design guidelines that are a lot more detailed and a lot more specific to the kinds of significant resources that you have in your own community. So that's why we really just try to say, okay, your design guidelines stem from these national standards, but we're trying to be a lot more specific in our own guidelines for just our community. Now, some towns, some places that I've worked, they actually have different sets of design guidelines for different areas. So they might have a set of design guidelines for their downtown, another one for their for a residential neighborhood. And I think I even heard one where they had 3 different sets of design guidelines, one for their downtown commercial buildings, one for a district that's a little bit more like yours, where it's more of a 18th, 19th century district. And then they had a district that was a little more, somewhere like bungalows, 20th century, 2020s, 1930s properties. So they had to have, they came up with a different set of design guidelines just to meet those specifics of the character of that area.
Okay, interesting.
I'm wondering if I have the most current document, but where did we end up with? There was some red text for emergency applications, and it says, talk to the commission about this type of. I'm not sure. Did that get filled in the?
I think we pulled out emergency applications.
Emergency application.
Yeah, I think that was a question whether it should be in there, but I think we pulled it out.
Yeah, I had
It got pulled
spoken.
out, okay.
Yeah, I pulled it because I spoke with both the State Historic Preservation Office and the city attorney. And based off of those conversations, it made more sense to pull it at this point. So
Okay.
that was the result of those 2 discussions.
So you still couldn't find a picture of a federal style house, huh?
Is there one that you'd like to put in? We could do that. I didn't feel like there was anything that really.
I'm not even sure what federal style is, so.
Yeah. There wasn't one in the district that really spoke to being federal, that met a lot of the criteria of what we usually think as a federal style building.
Yeah, we struggled.
Right.
Walked around the district a couple times and was like, nope, nothing really fits perfectly. So any further questions for Chris or any comments, questions, concerns, etc. from anybody?
So if you do vote to approve, it would be good if there was just some language in that motion so that Regan and I could make a few grammatical changes if we notice anything. So nothing, there wouldn't be any substantive things, but I've already noticed one typo. So I want to make sure that we're going to be able to change anything. I had a friend of mine that had looked at them, and we had numbered all of she had recommended that it's really good to number the guidelines. So that when you make a motion for a decision, you can say this, we approve this application. I make a motion to approve this application because it meets fences, guidelines 2, 3, 4, and 5, something like that. It's just easier to quote why it's in your decision, why it meets the guidelines if you have a number to go. It probably wasn't as important because you're a small district, and my friend it's a really big district with big agendas. But I did think it was probably a good idea to number all the guidelines. Anyway, I noticed there was a typo on one of the guidelines. It didn't format properly.
I noticed you added some little diagrams and things in various places. I don't remember those being in there before.
Yeah, we had worked with the State Historic Preservation Office to work on a COA flow chart. Just thinking that would be a clear way for applicants to understand the process. And I forgot to mention to you, Chris, but since we have a potential motion to make grammatical changes down the road, Michael Driscoll wanted me to add one more piece to the flow chart, which was just, it was already on the flow chart in a different section, but he just wanted a different piece of clarification. So it's the same thing, basically. They just wanted it in another section too, just to add additional clarification. But other than that, Michael Driscoll, our city attorney, was fine with the flow chart. He thought it looked good.
Okay.
So Regan, if we approve this here, what's the next step?
Yeah, great question, Greg. So I assume that Chris and I will just probably meet one more time to just, review any of those grammatical changes that need fixing. I'll send the flowchart verbiage that Michael Driscoll wanted added to you as well, Chris. It should just be a quick little sentence. Then I assume he'll get me the final draft, the final Word doc, the final PDF. And my plan would then be to print copies of the document to have at various places, such as the building department. The commission will likely want a copy for our purposes. And I also would love if the city would put it on our webpage and also on the building department's webpage as well. So that's my hope of where it would live.
Does this need to get approved by the council, city council?
No, it doesn't need to be approved by the council. I checked with the city attorney, and no, this would just be for the commission to approve. No. Yeah, did I miss anything, Chris, with next steps, or does that make sense?
Nope, that all sounds good to me.
Okay. Great.
And if you want me to put me on the agenda 6 months from now, I'd love to hear how everything's working for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's been awesome to work with Chris. I'll just say for the record, he's been so wonderful to work with, and we've had a good time. I've enjoyed walking around the district with him a couple different times over the summer, so we've enjoyed the time together.
Yep. Definitely. It's been great.
So Regan, once the project is over, where does the master document live?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the master document should live with the chairman, and that will soon to be Tim as of next month. So Tim, I'm going to be giving you a bunch of fun stuff, my friend.
Oh, I see, I was
Mhm.
thinking seems like it should live someplace on the city. I mean, what
Yeah.
happens if the chairman leaves and just never turns over anything, and then this document that we've paid a lot of money and time for is gone, if we ever needed
Yeah.
to make changes.
No, no, definitely. It's gonna go to the city too. So I'll give a version of the the Word doc and the PDF to the city as well. So it's gonna make sure, I'm gonna make sure it lives forever, even if we're all off the commission, this document will still be around.
Good.
Well, that'll be the link in the webpage for the HDC, correct?
Yeah, it will be a
Obviously.
link in the webpage as well. Yeah, and so like I said, I wanted to live on our webpage, the Historic District Commission's webpage. I wanted to live on the building department's webpage and any other webpage related to zoning and things like that in the city. So
Yeah, I was exactly, but I was actually thinking about the the Word document. So 10 years from now, if the committee
oh yeah,
wants to update something, somebody's not sitting there trying to recreate the wheel because they can't find the Word document.
yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, so that can also go live with the city. I wish we had like a Historic District Commission computer, but we like don't, because that would be a good place to put something like that too. But with, if all fails, I can provide everybody with a thumb drive, and the document can be on the thumb drive for members of the commission. So people have it and it's not going to get lost. So we can figure out the best way to do that.
Yeah.
There's options.
Put it on a thumb drive and just tuck it up in the corner of the room we used to meet in.
Yeah, I know, right? No one will ever find that thing. That's funny. Any further questions or comments for Chris and I?
No, I appreciate all your work on this, Chris. I'm sorry I didn't have more
Yeah.
time reviewing it, but what I've looked through, I mean, it's obviously you know what you're talking about, and you've got a lot of experience here, and I think you've given us a pretty good document. Appreciate it.
Ditto.
Catherine just had a good idea, saying that the school building committee has a shared cloud drive. So we could do something similar to that. That's a good idea. We'll figure it out, whatever makes the most sense. Great. Well, so hearing no further questions or comments, Chris, you're welcome to hang out if you'd like, but also if you want to go get dinner, that's cool too.
You're voting tonight, though. There's going to be an actual motion and a vote. Because I want to make sure.
I'm hoping there's gonna, yeah,
If-
there's,
if
I'm
there's any
hoping
more
there's a
discussion.
motion and a vote, everybody. Is that cool with everybody that we vote later?
Other than the fact that you said that you were leaving after we voted on this, so I don't know.
Someone said that last meeting too, if they just delay the vote so that I don't
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah,
So I think, is everyone okay if we do vote? Yeah, I see nodding, so yes.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nancy, does that work for you?
Yes, I never got to read it as carefully as I wanted. I did kind of a skim, but when that's ever going to happen is a good question. It all looked good as far as I could see, so I'm trusting. And I know you have to move it forward. And I know
Yeah.
you have to vote, and I know you have to leave.
Well, most importantly, I gotta
On
close
you
our
go.
grant. That's number one.
Okay, yep, yep.
The grant
I
is due
understand.
next month, so I gotta get that all
Sure.
closed. So that's number
Okay.
one.
Okay,
Great. Okay, great. So then, so yeah, so it sounds like, Chris, that we will be voting, which is great.
Do your votes. That's not in the, that comes up later in your agenda.
Yeah, so we will, after I close the public hearing, I'll do the regular meeting, which is when we'll
Oh, 'cause
vote
you're still-
at that point.
Okay, because you're still in public hearing right now. Okay, I see.
Yeah, we're still doing public hearing. Yeah, so yeah,
Great.
that's the plan.
Yeah, I'm going to hang out just so I can be here for your vote too.
Sounds good. Perfect. All right. So at this time, well, actually, before I do this, any further comment during public hearing from anybody?
no,
All right, great. So hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:28 p.m. and we will open the regular meeting. So first up on the agenda for our regular meeting is action on COAs. So the first COA we have here is COA 482, 34 East Town Street. So that's COA 482, 34 East Town Street. So I would entertain a motion to accept the proposal as submitted and presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Greg. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Oh, Nancy beat you, Tim. Thank you, Nancy. Any discussion?
Mm-mm.
They like their windows.
Yeah.
It's a really good group that they have. So I was very pleased to see
Yeah.
that they have the Cooper Group. They're really well respected and renowned. So I think it's going to be a really good window. So I'm excited with this new product they've went with.
Sounded very nice, but I bet it's very expensive too. So I guess it's a good thing they got a big chunk of money from NPU.
Oh, I bet it's expensive. Yeah. But I think it's going to meet their needs, which is great. And then also, adhere to the historic character of the building too. So I think it's a win-win.
Mhm.
All right, great. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'm gonna just do the roll call vote then, just where you guys are in my screen. So I think I'll start with Tim first, because I seem to always get Tim last. So Tim, I'll make you first this time.
Thank you. Aye.
Greg Johnson,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and Regan, aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. I guess I don't have to say Greg Johnson because there's only one Greg tonight, but I'm so used to it.
Yeah, the Greg's not here.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all. So next on the agenda is COA 483, 44 East Town Street, and I would entertain a motion to accept the application as submitted and presented.
I'll make that motion, but add that we were going to add a note there about the checking with the building inspector.
Yeah. great
Right.
point.
The
Mhm.
code.
Yep. So then the motion will
I'll-
read.
I'll-
Go ahead. Tim.
Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
no,
Okay.
I was
Sorry. I was just gonna say it again. So then the asking for a motion to approve the application dependent on response from the building official regarding the proper code of which side the railing needed to be on. Did that sound okay?
That's close enough.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you're sort of saying, so we request that it be approved as presented, but who's checking? The applicant will check with the
Yeah, the
building
the
inspector?
the applicant will check with the building official to
To follow their guidance as to which side the railing should be placed? Or what?
I was thinking it was just per code. We accept it as presented and conforming to code.
I think that makes sense what Tim just said.
Yeah, okay. Mhm.
So Tim, are you making a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move what I said.
Good thing this is a recording so Catherine can look at this after.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Greg. Any further discussion?
Mm-mm.
Okay, hearing none, I will do the roll call vote. So Tim, I'll start with you again.
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and Regan, aye. Thank you all. Motion passes unanimously.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it would have been nice if Richard had been here because he probably would have had a picture of the railing from back, 50 years ago of what it used to look like.
That's
That's
funny.
true.
Yeah, that's funny. He usually has a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Mm.
great. Great. So Tim, I'm gonna have to ask you to take over for the next application because I will have to abstain because it's my house.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept COA 484 as presented or as written and presented.
I so move.
Do I have a second?
I guess I will second that.
Do we have any discussion?
Mm-mm.
The only thing that, I was a little curious about is that, typically on the green, we don't have any big high fences, solid fences like that where they're seen. I mean, most of the fences are low, they're pickets, they're spaced, there's still a lot of visibility of the houses. So I wasn't sure about this is basically like a solid wall kind of fence, and it's 8 feet tall. So I was a little concerned about that.
Hmm.
And so I was going to look through our new design guidelines and see what the fencing piece in there says.
Well,
This is why we're voting on it before we look at voting on the other guidelines.
I don't know what you guys think about fencing.
I agree it's tall, but where is it visible from? I'm trying to, certainly the pictures are, you're inside the thing here. So you wouldn't see it from where the new gate is going to be, correct?
You would definitely see that new gate and the piece next to it, which you said the gate was going to be 6 feet tall.
Right.
And then the fencing beside that, I don't know if that was 6 or 8, but the piece that's there now is probably only like 4 feet tall or less.
mhm.
No, the whole gate thing was going to be 6 foot with the gate and whatever blocks it there. My understanding. I was talking about if I looked down that alleyway or whatever, I wouldn't see this. Do I see the new privacy fence? Is that it in the way back? I'm not sure how much of it is visible, I guess. 6 or 8 foot high. Because I'm not going to see it as I'm walking in front of the schoolhouse. And then if I go to the other side of the house, I'm not sure how much of it is visible, other than the pictures we see I'm in the backyard seeing it.
Hmm.
So.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
majority of the fencing is in the backyard, and you can see, you can see the fencing from, as you go up Mediterranean. If you look over there, you can see the fencing that's in the back. You can't see it necessarily from the front along Town Street, but if you turn the corner and go up Mediterranean, you can see it.
Mhm.
The fencing that's there now is like a picketing kind of fence.
Hmm. So
Well,
are you
like
thinking
Cedar
it's
and
too
I-
much fence? That it should be more like a picketing fence? Is that what you're
Well,
thinking?
To me, it just seems a little out of character for the other fences that are around. The backyard, I guess, is debatable because it depends on, there is the other side of Mediterranean did put up a pretty solid fence as well. I'm not sure if they went to the HDC for that or not, but the one on the other corner of the Mediterranean, I can't remember what number Town Street that is, but that they put up a picket fence all across the front. But then in the back of the house, which is right along the road along Mediterranean, is a pretty solid fence as well. So,
Right.
but
And I know that's why I thought, okay, this not picket is okay with me because we did have that other more solid application on that other house.
yeah, did that one come before the HTC?
But yeah, I think it did.
Okay.
I'm remembering.
So I guess, maybe the only, valid concern then is the piece along the front there. That's going to add a bit of solidness across the front of the property between the buildings.
Hmm.
I think the door though would make that not look as solid, but I understand the purpose of it.
Well, I mean, the door is the
Anyway.
same as it's a solid panel. You can't see through any of that.
No, but I just meant it wouldn't be just like a wall. There is a door. There's some sort of feature or design to kind of break it up, but understand what you're saying. It is solid, right? All right. Do we have other discussion, or are we ready to vote?
I don't know, you guys, it's just the three of us voting on this, so, I don't know what, how you guys feel about it. What your thoughts are.
Well, it sounds like your concern is with the front. I guess what would be seen from the front. And you're not sure you like it being so solid. But of course, it has to be consistent with what it is, and it is mostly in the back.
Mhm.
So I guess you're just not sure it would look right. I guess that's what you're thinking, huh, Greg? It looks like too much solid.
Yeah, that's all I'm thinking, just because most of the fences in the area are, more
Hmm.
picture.
Oh. Hmm. Hmm.
Like I said, I think I've seen the solid application before. Maybe not 8 foot high, but the solid application. So I'm not. I guess I'm okay with that, and certainly okay with the cedar material.
Yeah.
And I don't have as much, I guess, heartburn of that gate and barrier, which would be a little bit back. I think it would be better than the partial blockade that's there for the trash barrels or whatever. And again, that one only being 6 foot high, me being only 5'8" myself, but I'm not sure I would. I think I'm okay with the treatment like that looking, which I think would look better than what's there. But I see what you're trying to say is it would, well, it'd be different, but it'd be a little bit bigger or whatever. It would look solid across there. So, but that's the purpose. Keep them out of there.
Yeah.
So that was, if that tells you where I'm leaning, I guess, I don't know, with the three of us voting. So do we have more discussion? Do we want to vote? Hearing no further discussion, I guess I will go. Nancy, I don't have anything in front of me, so Nancy,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
I'm going to say aye, and Regan, I think you are an abstain.
Excuse me, I'm abstaining.
And that I don't see anyone else on my phone, so I'm assuming that was it.
Yes.
Yeah, just
All
the
right.
three of us.
I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Remind me one of these days to tell you all about the stories of the summer concerts on the green and people in our backyard. I'll tell you guys all about that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I told you I
Yeah.
was sorry. I lost
What's
my
that,
way.
Tim?
Yeah.
Oh,
I told you
Yeah.
I was sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just looking for a
Oh.
bathroom.
you would have been a delightful person to have in our backyard as opposed to some of the other ones we had. So,
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
so thank you guys. So we appreciate that. We're hoping to have at least the gate done before the next concert series to prevent that. So
Okay.
we love the concerts. Don't get me wrong. It's just the people who wander in our backyard we don't love so much.
Yeah, that's strange, huh? Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so next on the agenda here is review of the final draft of the Historic District Commission design guidelines. Is there a motion to approve the design guidelines with the understanding that Regan and Chris will make any grammatical changes as needed?
Mhm.
Is there a motion? Oh,
I'll
hey, and
move.
Greg, you're muted. Oh, I saw Greg's lips moving when he was muted.
I'll second it then.
So Tim made the motion and Greg second. Great, thank you. Any discussion?
Mhm.
Just to reiterate a thank you for the hard effort and quality product here. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yes, thank you from all of us.
And Regan,
Yeah,
thanks for taking the lion's share of the reviewing of that.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun. Chris and I have had fun meetings looking over everything. So it's been great and I've loved working with Chris. And the only thing I'm sad about is that now I won't see you as often, Chris. Now that this project's coming to an end. So
Right.
I'm meeting all the time. So that's the only sad part for me. I'm excited about the guidelines moving forward, but we'll be sad to not see you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way. So invite me back sometime, because it'd be good for you to think about how, what else could we put in the guidelines? But it's also good for me as a consultant. So I really appreciate feedback that you want to give to me in the future on this.
Sounds good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Will do. All right, great. So any further discussion? Hearing
No.
none, I'll do the roll call vote with where you guys are on my screen. I'll start with you, Tim,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you all. Motion passes unanimously. Great. We have design guidelines. Woohoo! Time to celebrate.
Mhm.
All right, so cruising on the agenda here. Next up is approval of the minutes from the Wednesday, January 19th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I move we approve the minutes.
Thank you, Nancy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Greg. Any discussion? Thank you as always, Catherine. We appreciate all of your hard work on taking minutes, and I know we're not always an easy group to wrangle at times, so we appreciate you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will do the roll call vote. So Tim, I'll start with you.
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and I also vote aye. So the minutes pass. Thank you very much. The only thing I'll say very quickly under chairman's report is that I thought we were going to get a new commission member by this meeting, but I believe the city of Norwich chose, or I should say not the city of Norwich, the city council, excuse me, chose to defer voting on commission members to the next meeting. So I think that's February 21st. I don't have the city council agenda in front of me. But they postponed it from the 7th to the next meeting, which I think might be the 21st. So hopefully by March, we have our new commission member, which will be great.
It wouldn't
And-
be February 21st because that's like a President's Day holiday.
Oh,
thing.
you're right, Nancy. Thank you. Then maybe
Yeah.
it's February 22nd or the 28th. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't have the agenda in front of me. But hopefully by our March meeting, at least, we will have our new commission member, Jake Stahl, on board, which will be great. And then the other thing I'll just add is that Tim and I have been chatting. he and I are gonna go over what it takes to be chairman, because he's hopefully gonna be chairman starting in March. And I'll go over all that with you, Tim, and we'll figure out a time to meet up so I can give you a thumb drive with all of the documents and things like that.
All right.
Regan, are you
sounds good.
staying on the commission or getting off the commission?
I figured that I would stay for a little bit to help with transition, and then I'm gonna see what happens. Let's put it
Okay.
that way.
Fair enough. Right, Tim?
Sounds fair enough. Yep.
All right, anything further to discuss? Any other business that anyone wants to discuss in the commission at this point?
Tim, if you're gonna take
Actually,
over,
though,
I was gonna say, Tim, if you're gonna take over this chair, you need to get a camera though.
I will. I'll make an appearance. But I was gonna say though, 2 alternate spots, right? It would be Jake and the other Greg. Or
That's
the
a
other
good
Greg, a
question.
full member.
Let me check real quick because I don't remember.
I thought that.
And
Greg Fuller was a-
and so as something like that, if you leave, is it just seniority? So would he move in? Or is there a?
I don't think they
I know
do
how that
that. They, no, they don't do that.
No, it doesn't actually work like that.
No. I think they
They just
appoint another
remain
one
as
at
an
some
alternate?
point or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so what
gotcha.
you'd have to do, what Greg Farlow would have to do if he wanted to become like a full commissioner or a regular member or whatever, he'd have
Yeah.
to reapply, which is annoying.
Yeah.
But he could do that. But yeah, so to answer your question, Tim, Greg Farlow and Jake Stahl would then be alternates, while the rest of us would be, full members
Yeah.
of the commission.
Right.
So that's how that would work.
Okay.
Now, where is Richard today? Did something happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Richard is ill, and
Oh.
I know I don't think he's doing great,
Oh.
I will be honest. He was in the hospital for a while and
Ugh.
wasn't doing well in the hospital, let's put it that way.
Ugh.
I've spoken to him twice since the last meeting, and he sounds good on the phone, like his voice is strong, but he was a little forgetful and just not sure what the status of his health is going to be moving forward. So
Oh, dear.
so I'm not sure what his future on the commission is going to be. I hope he feels well enough to come to the next meeting because his expertise is really valuable. So I hope he's going to do okay and make a recovery. I haven't spoken to him. I spoke to him 2 weeks ago, so I should call him again and see how he's doing. But
Is
that's
he out of
last
the
I-
hospital now, Reagan? He's out of the
Yeah.
hospital now?
He is out of the hospital, so he's home right now, which is good. Last thing I knew when I spoke to him was that his wife was now ill.
Oh, geez.
So that
Ugh.
was not helpful for both of them to
Ugh.
be sick at the same time. So anyway, I don't know exactly what their ailments are. I don't think it's COVID though. I think
It's
they
not
just have-
COVID, right?
It's not COVID. They just have
Good.
other stuff going on. So
Right. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah.
yeah. So I hope he's going to be okay.
Hmm.
I'm sure he'd appreciate, a little letter or a phone call or anything if anyone wants to check in on him because he's just home right now. He's not going anywhere. So
Right.
that's all I know at this point.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I know. It just stinks. I hope he feels better.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So our next meeting date is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022 at 5:30, and we'll be via Zoom again. That's the plan anyway.
And Reagan, I definitely will not be here on that meeting. I'm gonna be out
Okay.
of town.
Great. Thank you, Greg, for letting us know. I'm making a note of that now.
Is it because of the new chairman?
He's
No,
afraid if you
no.
come back on camera, he won't be able to handle it.
That's it, yeah.
That's funny.
You'll scare him right off the screen and off he goes somewhere out of town.
Uh,
Okay.
All right, is there anything further to discuss?
No, ma'am.
All right, hearing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I move we
moved.
adjourn.
Oh, that was a tie. I think I'll give that one to Greg.
Sure. No
And Nancy, you
problem.
want a second?
Second, yes.
All right. I'll just do the roll call one last time. And Tim, I'll start with you here.
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So thank you all. We are adjourned.